Brian Luoma, and I'm the host of the Philippine Business Playbook podcast and the CEO of Tahche. And today we have a very special guest, Joel, who also works at Tahche and is currently in the U.S. doing a training run with one of our clients to help set up one of our larger teams in the U.S. And I thought this was a great opportunity to bring him down to, I guess we're going to call this Studio B of our studios here, to kind of talk about your experience in the offshoring, outsourcing industry, building teams. You've had a lot of successes building great teams, and I wanted to bring you on to just kind of give a little bit of a feel for what that's like in the kind of on the ground standpoint, because I think a lot of our viewers, they're CEOs, business owners that are either thinking about building a team in the Philippines or have just started doing it and are maybe having difficulties with it, or want to grow their team from 2 people to 50 people to 70 people, and having somebody like you at the forefront to help facilitate that in the Philippines is one of the key aspects of doing that. And so I thought bringing you in to kind of talk about that and give some tips for our viewers would be a very useful thing. And so welcome to the Philippine Business Playbook podcast, and our second interview on the podcast. So I'm congratulations, and very happy to have you here. We're in New Jersey now. The weather's starting to get cooler.
Oh yeah.
How are you liking the weather? You enjoying the changing of the seasons? We don't have that in the Philippines.
First, thank you, Brian, for inviting me here. I really appreciate this opportunity to have this podcast with you. Weather here, it's getting cooler, colder. There's frost all over the place. Mm-hmm. We never experienced that in the Philippines, at least for quite some time now. But yeah, getting adjusted to the weather, and it's nice here. I really like the experience.
I know you've been to the U.S. a couple of times. What other states have you been to?
Yeah, I've been in Florida since 2014 until 2017. Mm-hmm. Then went back to the Philippines. Then went to Arizona back in 2019. Mm-hmm. And then back in Orlando 2020. Then Philippines, and now in New Jersey. It's my first time here.
There you go.
So I've been to the warmer states.
A little bit different. A little bit different here.
Yeah.
It'll be exciting when the snow comes soon enough. And you have a colleague here, Michelle, that's with you as well.
Yeah, so I brought Michelle
and it's her first time, I think, right?
It is. It's her first time. Very excited.
How is she liking that? When we saw you guys after you had first gotten here, I think it was that first weekend, and kind of it's always exciting to seeing them see all the cultural stuff that we take for granted, and seeing them see that. How is she adjusting to?
Yeah, well, that's 3 months ago when we first came here, and the adjustment to the weather. Back in the Philippines, in Cebu, Philippines is tropical. It's kind of hot. Then coming over, although it's still summer back then, the weather is switching from hot to cold. She started adjusting to that. She was sick.
She bought some sweaters and
no, she brought some summer clothes.
Of course, yes.
And then shifting to the cold weather, she has to buy some of the dress for the cooler weather. But yeah, she got sick, but she's able to adapt to the change in weather, and she's okay now. She's enjoying it. I'm seeing her enjoying her life every day here, so she's liking the environment.
Yeah, Michelle's awesome.
She's adapting to that.
She's great. And so tell me, do you have family back home that are missing you terribly as you spend a couple of months?
Oh yeah, I talk to my kids every day.
Okay.
Especially my son. He's 5 years old, and
he
would call me and would demand that I talk to him every day.
Of course,
there are times that she would want to do video call with me while driving to the office. Just to see the environment too. And my daughter, I speak to her every weekend. She goes to school from Monday to Friday, and weekend is just the time for me to spend with her. But
that's great.
that's
And it's that 12-hour difference. So I guess if
Yes.
you're calling them on your way into work, it's 7:30, 8 o'clock, or whatever
Yes.
that time is in the Philippines.
yeah, it's they just having their dinner, or they just had their dinner when they're
Right.
calling me, or before they go to bed, they would call me, would spend a quick time together, and then just
Mhm.
call it a day. Yeah.
So when you're building these teams, I know you've done it for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe you can just what is your experience in building teams in the Philippines
Well,
for companies in the US?
in the BPO industry or offshoring industry, I started as an agent
Mhm.
really back in 2005.
The traditional call
Yeah,
center
the traditional
agent
call center agent.
doing tech support or something like
Yes,
that. There you go.
my background is technical, so
Mhm.
I did tech support and
Mhm.
customer service for quite some time. I took calls,
Yep.
wearing the headset,
Right.
saying good morning and all customer service thing. I did that for
Yeah.
quite some time before
Yep.
I moved the ranks.
Sure.
So yeah, I understand operations by just being an agent for a while, then becoming a subject matter expert,
Hmm.
and then became a training and quality staff, then moved to the supervisor role for a year, then became a manager.
Sure.
That's really where how I started my career in the industry.
And how big were those offices that you were working in?
It's huge.
Sure.
We're talking about hundreds. When I was a manager, I grown from the grounds. So I went to Australia
Oh.
to understand the business.
Okay.
It's a
It was an
telco
Australian company that you
Yeah,
were
it's
working with?
Australian telco company.
Okay.
I went there to understand the business and went back to the Philippines and established it there, ground zero up, from training to building the organization. It's kind of challenging because of the culture.
Hmm.
But one thing that I noticed and I'm confident about in this experience is that in the Philippines, it's an English speaking country.
Yep.
That gave us the advantage over the others, and gave also the Western countries, like here in the US, the confidence that we'll be able to deliver the business for them because of that. So that's one thing that I would say that gave,
Mhm.
I mean, allowed me to be able to uh, widen the scope
Sure.
when it comes to the industry per se.
Yeah, I mean, the Philippines, I would say over the last, let's say 15 years or something like that, has really taken over all of
Oh,
the
yeah, for
voice outsourcing, the call center type of work.
Yeah.
And because of those obvious things with English speaking and culture
Yeah.
and things like that, it's relatively uncommon to get a call center, answer the phone nowadays, and have it be somebody in India.
Yes.
The Philippines has taken that over.
Right.
And I guess that's where you kind of really got your chops and everything,
Yeah.
and built teams there. Did you ever have any times where a company maybe had a call center in India and a call center in the Philippines
yes.
at the same time?
Yes, we've had that. The thing here is we're getting complaints from our customers, and we end up fixing it here in the
Sure.
Philippines. So
Sure.
yeah, from a customer experience standpoint, that's really the advantage of the Philippines. It is innate in our culture that we are customer centric.
Mhm.
The hospitality mindset that
Mhm.
the Filipino culture can offer across the board, that is our advantage. And that's the reason why most of the Western countries like the United States, even Australia and the Europe, uh, are bringing their business in the Philippines because of that. Customer service is innate in our culture, and that's very important. Plus, the 12-hour time difference, that's
Yep.
an advantage. The business can operate 24/7 because of that.
Yep.
That will widen their capability to also cater to their customers with the help of the BPO industries or companies in the Philippines. So yeah.
One thing that I've been talking about on the podcast here,
Yeah.
and what I talk about with Tahche a lot, is really the Philippines has proven their chops in the call center industry, and you've got all these amazing, talented people doing customer service for clients in the U.S. But really, what I'm trying to push people now is like let's take it to the next level, because you got somebody with a computer science, was it? Computer
Yes,
science degree
yes.
like yourself doing call center work.
Yeah.
Maybe they should actually be doing computer science, and engineers and architects and legal people and marketing and stuff like that. And so we're seeing teams at Tahche, and you see it walking around the halls. These teams are growing bigger and bigger in these professional fields. And I think that for our viewers and for our customers, one of the questions they have is like, how do I do it? Because a lot of times they dip their toes in with somebody off of Upwork or somebody freelance or
Right.
onlinejobs.ph, and they got somebody and they're like, oh, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
But how do you go from one person to 10 people? And I always tell them that first person that you hire really is a person that really important. That person that's going to be the leader, that's going to develop processes, put in systems. And for a lot of our clients, they don't even understand or have a knowledge of these systems that somebody might put in place to really grow
Right.
their office. And can you talk a little bit about like what are some of those processes as far as managing a team like that you do as a leader for your team that may be difficult if you're just have 6 people on Upwork that you're trying to manage and grow and have them teach each other and train each other and like I know it's probably obvious for you, but like pretend you're talking to somebody that's deciding how am I going to go from 2 people to 20 people.
For sure. Well, people management is not easy. It's really challenging. And I keep on telling my colleagues, Michelle being my training and quality supervisor, and some of the supervisors over there in operations. Managing people means if you have 15 that reports directly to you, you mean you have to wear 15 hats. You have to wear 15 personalities. And you have to make sure that you're willing to embrace and accept these personalities and develop them. The developing piece is where the challenge is. It's not easy. I created strategies based on experience as in working in this industry for 18 years now. I call that the face coaching model. It's more of being able to adapt to the personality of the person using the hand of a carrot. Other managers or other people out there who are watching this might know this, the carrot and stick approach, where you have to tame the rabbit for the rabbit to go to you. You use the carrot. And that's how you develop people. You have to tame them, understand how they work. You have to be able to blend into them first before they even blend into you. Good leaders should have that kind of personality. Good managers should have that kind of personality. When I joined Tahche back in 2022, we are only 25. And right now we are 62. And I'm bringing in additional 25 people in the Philippines by first quarter of next year. We are growing simply because of that mantra that I always put into myself, always humble yourself because that's when you start learning. And whatever you learn, you share that to other people. That's very important. I am able to learn the business by asking the people that are knowledgeable of the business. I am not the type of person who knows everything. I learn every day.
Sure.
And that's one thing, that's the key of building the organization to greater heights, if you want to put it at that. Leverage yourself. Leveraging means you should share what you know because you cannot build a company by just you yourself. You need other people with different expertise. And I look for people with that expertise. And it all boils down to attitude, the positive attitude towards life, towards the career, those people who are ambitious. I like working with them because if they're ambitious, that means they have goal in life. And if I understand that goal and I can be a part of that goal and I can affect that goal in a positive way, I'll make sure that will happen. And that's the reason why we grew significantly in the past 2-3 years. That's the key element. That's the secret of just simply growing.
Yeah, I agree with you. If you've got people that have a positive attitude, obviously have the skills, and are on board as far as trying to grow the team and trying to be as successful and as efficient as they can be. It's almost hard to see it failing.
Yeah.
And if you're able to put in the leaders in place that can pass that message along for the parent company, if you will, in the U.S., that to me is really the plan that succeeds. Seeing all, we have lots of clients, and they all start with 4 or 5 people. Even the client you're working with started with 4 people, 5 people, and and it got to 20, and you've been skilled enough to grow from 20 to 65 and 85 or more in the future. And these aren't just call center people. These are a wide variety of positions and departments and skill level that you're building with that team. And can you just give a little bit of insight as to how does the Philippines team coordinate, communicate with the U.S. team? What is the little bit of without giving away any trade secrets, what is a little bit of the structure set up that allows 80 people in the Philippines to run smoothly in a wide variety of departments and areas, run smoothly with their U.S. counterparts? How is that possible?
Well, it all boils down to the inverted triangle approach, and it's circled around trust. Trust is very important. I always tell them, I work through trust. If I can't work through trust, you don't belong to my team.
What is this inverted triangle approach?
The inverted triangle approach simply means that I am just at the bottom looking at the people on top of me, so they're my priorities, right? Because if I am not there, the triangle will fall, right? I should be able to balance things. And I bring that to our partner over here and make sure that they understand that through collaboration, through daily communication. Communication is very important, but communication, I would say, would have a second step, which is collaboration. Communication alone is not enough. There should be collaboration. When you collaborate, it's a two-way highway. When you communicate, it's maybe just me telling you what needs to happen. But if you collaborate, it's me and you talking to each other and sharing what needs to be done or the solution for a specific problem. If they're
collaboration is key.
Collaboration is key. So that's very important. Plus the trust and respect. The good thing there is we are able to establish the respect from our team over here to over our folks over there in the Philippines. And the same way the Philippine folks with the people over here. So they trust and respect each other. That's why there's a healthy collaboration between the two. And all of us, the leaders of the organization, became solution-oriented. That gave us the leverage to grow the business in the Philippines other than what they have here. We were able to establish that with the client. That's why they entrusted the business to us through Tahche.
Yeah, and I love that you talked about trust, because it's really something I see with some of our clients that are I don't know how to say this nicely, but they're afraid to let go, let's say.
Yeah.
And so they want to micromanage every single piece, as opposed to, you hire a rock star, somebody that knows how to do it, somebody that's built the teams, does exactly what you're doing, and maybe can point to successes at huge companies that are also in the Philippines, and then you have to trust them to grow the team and implement the culture that you want and the processes that you want to make sure that it's a success. But if you're trying to do it remotely and you don't trust the people that you're working with, it's going to be very, very difficult.
It'll be difficult. Again, the important thing there is, if your client trusts you, then they should entrust everything to you, that you will run their business, and you as the outsourcing organization or company should also treat their business as your own. If you think that way and you manage the business that way, then there won't be any problem at all with quote unquote trust thing. And that's very important. And trusting the business, which is the business model of the BPO industry, should be, I would say, considered highly critical if you want to succeed.
Yeah. And you know, with trust, it's not, you know, just throw it over there and forget it.
Yeah.
There has to be supervision and like you
Right.
said, collaboration and communication, you know, to ensure that it's succeeding.
Yeah.
Just what are there? I think that, you know, you've been in the business for 18 years.
Yeah.
You've probably seen, you know, people make mistakes. You got to correct them. You got to adjust.
Yes.
Is there things that you would like to tell business owners in the U.S. that are considering, you know, building an office in the Philippines, or people who maybe only have a couple of people and want to grow that? Are there any tips or factors as far as like these are things that people make mistakes on early on, and you know they need to learn this to really have their team succeed? Is there, you know, maybe misconceptions or anything like that that you would want to pass along?
Well, it all boils down to proper training, right? What's the good thing in the Philippines is that we get the support. We get the support from the government, and that support plays a vital role. Metro Manila, Cebu, and Davao are the centerpiece of the BPO industry. I would say the investment in technology, the stability of internet now, if you want to put it at that, played a vital role in that. So whoever, if we have clients that are planning to establish their business in the Philippines and they want to partner even with Tahche to be specific, you're in the right place. You have the right people to run your business. Simply because the culture, I would say, our adaptability to the culture of the Western companies is, I would describe it superb in that manner. I will use that word. It's simply because, number one, the business model that we established is partnering with the client, and that's important. Understanding the culture, bringing that to the Philippines, and adapting to that is very important too. And the continuous training, the development of the people is there. We have the massive manpower. We have the talent in the Philippines that can cater to both voice and non-voice, back office, in any aspect like healthcare, finance, information technology. There are trainings that are now available and it's being done in the Philippines too. So if an organization, if you guys are willing to partner with Tahche, believe me, we have the right business model for you, and we have a CEO that is so down to earth, that is willing to engage with you. We have the entire structure of the organization with the culture of a customer-centric mindset other than the business. We'll take care of that, and that's the reason why I enjoyed working with Tahche, and I stayed with Tahche over the others.
Well, thank you for that. I, you know, I never want to make this like a huge commercial for Tahche.
Yeah.
You know, we just try and do a good job, but really it's about opening people's eyes to the Philippines and the opportunities that are there, and hopefully when they look around, they look at Tahche and say that's the best option for me. And we talk about you know the culture that we try and to bring to the office that we have there, and the way we work with the team. Maybe you could talk about that a little bit. You've worked for various companies at various places. Is there certain things that are done at Tahche, not that is exclusive to Tahche, but are done at Tahche that you think are particularly nice and things that help a team succeed in the Philippines?
Oh yeah. There are two things that made me stay with Tahche versus the others. And I've mentioned this to Rox, I've mentioned this to Amy, and my motivation is not money. We work for money, don't get me wrong. But my motivation is the culture that the company establishes. If you take care of your people first, which is very important to me, I would go there. And that's one thing that I liked with Tahche. They value what the people brings to the organization. The inverted triangle is there. I saw that. That's one thing that kept me with Tahche versus the others. it's done by other organizations. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not something that is unique. But one thing that I like is everyone is approachable. That's important too. So the collaboration, the trust,
Collaboration,
everything
not
is
only
there.
between the U.S. and the Philippines, but within the team itself
Yes.
in the Philippines.
Yes, the collaboration. It's so easy to talk to anyone else.
Mhm.
I never had problem with them, so that's the reason why.
What is the your thought on, just some of the simple stuff? Let me just get your, I've talked to the audience about this in the past, but let's just get an unbiased second opinion there.
Sure.
What is your answer to people who might have a concern with regard to like the working the overnight hours, the graveyard shift and all that? What would be your answer to people that have concerns about that and with the team in the Philippines?
Well, it isn't easy really. Being a night owl, working at night, and then sleeping in the morning. It's not easy. I've gone through that. But it's more of self discipline and the willingness to do it. As long as you're willing to do it and you have that self discipline, you put that hours over there, you should be fine. You know,
And of the 80 people, how many are working that overnight shift?
98% or 99%. I only have 3 people that are working on the day shift. And these folks are those folks that are not able to work in the evening. All of them are working in the evening. So yeah, I mean it's more of being able to adapt. The adaptability is very important.
And when you're communicating with the U.S. team and your other, the managers that work with you are communicating with the U.S. team, how would you describe that communication, the culture differences and all that? Is that something that a U.S. business owner might want to be concerned about, or how would you describe that communication?
No, I
skill?
don't think that will be a big concern. Like what I said, the Philippines is an English-speaking country. We've been colonized by the Western culture for quite some time, for the longest period of time. So that shouldn't be a showstopper at all if other companies in the U.S. would want to establish their business in the Philippines. In fact, it's an advantage. Other than lower cost,
Sure.
that's one thing. The technology is there. The customer service mindset, the hospitality, which is innate in our culture, is there. So honestly, I cannot think of any reason why other companies would have that concern in expanding their business and bringing that into the Philippines.
And one of you mentioned cost and everything, and we don't talk about that too much because I think it's obvious to a lot of
Yes.
people. But from your standpoint, well, let me just start by saying I think a lot of business owners are concerned about that. Am I taking advantage of the Filipino people? Am I not being an ethical person by hiring somebody at this low wage and therefore am I are they living on the streets or whatever? Can you just talk about like the in my opinion, they're paid well, especially with regard to their colleagues, and live good lives with cars and homes and everything else. But how would you describe the feeling of the Filipino worker that might work for your company or with one of the other Tahche clients?
Yeah.
How would you describe their satisfaction, let's say, with the salaries and their lifestyle?
Honestly, the BPO industry changed or paved its way when it comes to lifestyle in the Philippines. It upgraded our lifestyle a bit, to be honest. We are paid very well in the Philippines. There might be misconstrued understanding about taking advantage of the salaries, but no, it's not. There's a standard that has been established when it comes to salaries, and offshoring or BPO nowadays is even paying way better than the others. Trust me, like we have staff that are able to live an upgraded life, quote unquote, compared to the others. So yeah, it was a concern way back, maybe around 15 years ago or 20 years ago. but not anymore because we they understand that the lifestyle uh, should, plays a vital role too, and to manage attrition, we have to make sure that we pay them well too, and I think that those folks in the Philippines that are working in the BPO industry are, I would say, paid better compared to
Sure.
the other private firms, and that's the reason why, with that, I mean, there are more, I would say, folks over there that are into this industry now. It's a huge thing. It's a thing now. You want to put it at that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think that we're part of the growing middle class
Yes.
of the Philippines, and certainly for for those that are able to continue to grow and have opportunities, they can really be proud of the life
Yes.
they're living, and the supporting the family around them. I know a lot of our employees support multi generations, and that's great.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
proud of that in a lot of ways. I know you're based in the Cebu office.
Yes.
Have you lived in the Cebu area all your life, or did you?
No, I migrated
Okay.
in 2022. I was born and raised in Baguio City, a northern part of Luzon.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so cooler weather. Then I
That's
moved
right.
to Cebu, hot.
People don't know that, but there is snow in the Philippines. If you go up enough elevation,
That's
you
where
can
I
find snow in the
am.
Philippines.
That's where
Yeah.
I grew up. That's where I was born.
Okay.
Then I migrated to Cebu.
To the
back in
beaches of
2010.
Cebu.
Yes, to the beaches of Cebu.
Have you worked in the Manila area?
Oh
in the
yeah,
past?
I've worked in the
Yeah.
Manila area for 15 years.
Okay.
That's really
Okay.
where my BPO experience sprouted.
Okay.
Stayed there for quite some time. And then in 2022, I migrated to Cebu for Tahche.
So we have a satellite office in Ortigas.
Yeah.
And our main headquarters is in Cebu. How would you describe Cebu as a place to have an office to work? If one of the clients were to come over, and I know we've had several over the years come and visit their teams, how would you describe that to? How would you describe Cebu to a potential business owner that wanted to come and set up their team there?
Oh, other than the beaches, other than the food, other than the hospitable culture, Cebu is now one of the best places to establish a company or a BPO company. Like what I said, I mentioned this earlier. Metro Manila, Cebu, and Davao are now the centerpiece of the BPO business. Cebu, per se, the technologies there, they're open to that. I've seen businesses invest in Cebu, plus the manpower,
Mm-hmm.
plus their ability to communicate in the English
Right.
language. The communication skills, I would say, is never a problem. Manila is still the centerpiece, I would say, but there are a lot of call centers there now, and the competition is very high, and that's why companies get out of Metro Manila. And Cebu is one of the best place, I would say. In my 2 years of staying over there, I think there's a huge potential or a big potential for a company to, instead of in Manila, I'm not trying to debunk Manila, but again, you
Manila's
won't have
the
the
OG.
same.
It's
Oh
they're
yeah,
the,
of
they're
course.
the
Manila will
they're
always
the-
be the OG.
yeah,
You cannot take that away from
yeah,
Manila.
absolutely.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
yeah, Cebu, I would say, is one of the best destination.
Yeah. Have you swam with the whale sharks yet?
Oh, I went there.
You did.
I
Yeah.
did 2 times. I went there. I liked it, and I
Two
did
times. There you go.
I did a
Yeah.
quick
Yeah.
peek of the sardines too.
Oh, you did the sardines.
did.
That is,
I
you know,
did
everyone
that,
talks
and
about the
that.
whale sharks, and I've done twice myself as well, and it's amazing. You know, you got
Yeah.
these. The whale sharks are as big as a bus, and you're swimming, right next to them. It is amazing. But the sardines, that is a whole different experience. Where you got, I don't know if it's tens of thousands or
That's
hundreds of thousands of sardines just circling around you
Right.
like a typhoon or something like that. That is an
Yeah.
experience, and so I'm happy you did that because
Yeah.
that is
I did that.
something I suggest to everyone that goes to
Yeah.
goes to Cebu. There was what I was going to say. Oh, so when you're talking to your client in the U.S. and you're talking about, is there any area that of of your team that you think that Filipinos really are adept at, that as far as like divisions or types of work that they could do? Is there any areas that you think maybe aren't a great fit? What, I try to tell people that kind of the sky's the limit, as far as of what they can do. And you're on the ground, you're seeing these teams being built, and you're walking around the office and seeing what's happened. What is your opinion as far as the range of skills that the Filipinos have?
Well, like what I said, the Filipino talent or skills is superb, and that's the reason why businesses entrust their businesses to the Philippines, because they know that they can deliver. Our ability to adapt to the business that they have from a customer service standpoint, regardless, healthcare, IT, you name it, we've done it, because we have that skill and our willingness to learn. Filipinos are in that are having that kind of mindset that I should learn this. The willingness to learn is very important too. I see that as I would say a huge difference here in the U.S. I've worked with American people for the longest period of time, and the mindset is different from. Believe it or not, Filipinos are scared of getting out of the office before they even clock out, because they don't want to be, called out for something else. But the culture, the Western culture, is different. They would always fight for what they think is right. And that's to our advantage. I'm not saying that we're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, but at the end of the day, our care for the business, I would say, is an advantage other than the innate skill that we already have and the willingness to be developed. Our coachability, if you want to use that word too, is an advantage of the culture there over here. And I can compare that. We are also, I would say, we are so into this that process mindset. I can compare.
They do like to follow the rules.
They do like to follow the rules. That's
Give
the
them
thing.
rules,
You
they're gonna
described it.
follow it.
They like to follow the rules, and the rules are made for a reason, and they're so compliant to that.
Right.
Compliance, so to speak, is one thing that I would say is our advantage versus the different culture. So yeah.
Well, I kept the most important subject to the very end. So I don't know if our viewers know this, but Joel was the coach for the Tahche Cheetahs basketball team, and although the season didn't go exactly as we had hoped, our inaugural season for the Tahche Cheetahs, and I was really impressed though, because this was our very first year.
Yeah.
And you put the call out there. Actually, before that, you had come to me and you said, "Hey, let's start a basketball team." And like anything, I'm like, "Let's do it." I'm always on board for that. And you put the call out there, and you had tryouts, and I think that we ended up with 15 guys or something like that played, and we joined this corporate league with other big companies that have been playing for years and years.
Yes.
And, maybe are recruiting for basketball players. So, could you just talk about that for a little bit?
Sure. I've been playing basketball for the longest period of time. That has been my sport.
It's the Filipino national sport.
Filipino thing.
Despite our stature.
You talk basketball, Philippines there. Right? So I know very well there's an ongoing league. I played for my previous organization in basketball in Manila.
Mm-hmm.
And then going to Cebu, my co-manager and I talked about is because I asked, is there an ongoing league in Cebu? And they said yes. I said, okay, so is Tahche part of that? And said no. So why? Why are we not part of that? I mean, we can. We have the
Mhm.
talent. We have people that are willing to play. And mental health is vital to the organization too, making everyone also fit, other
Mhm.
than enjoying what they do and enjoying what the company could offer. That's also another strategy to establish that collaboration. And I said, let's do it. You know,
Yeah.
and I'll go to Brian and say, hey, Brian, we can build a team. We can start trying out. There are people over there that we talked. When I joined, in the client that I'm working with, uh, I gathered our folks that are playing basketball, and we play every Friday. And I said, well, maybe we can
That's
move
awesome.
it to another level and go Tahche level.
Right.
And that's when I went to you and say, hey, Brian, Chris and I talked about this, and we wanted to join the Inter BPO League, and we know that we might not have the height, but we have the spirit.
We have the spirit. You know, when I was growing up, you know, company softball teams in the U.S. was a huge thing, and everyone was on a company softball team, and I think it really helps create camaraderie and you know, empathy for your, you know, player fellow teammates, and you know, hey, you know, John, he can be a little bit of a jerk, but you know, we hung out together at the softball game, and I understand him now.
Yeah.
And I think that happens when you get in those situations. And you know, Tahche, we didn't win a lot of games, but we had the most passionate fans. I think there was always more fans there from the Tahche side, and you guys, I think, had the opportunity to meet more people within the company that you had in as well. Did you see that? I mean, that was my impression, at least, that it had a really positive effect on the.
Oh
on
yeah,
the camaraderie.
some of the players become my pals. We had a quick chit chat before the game and after the game. Even though we're not playing against them, they see me. Oh, Joel, you know, how's your game? Oh, we played. But they're hearing the Tahche as an organization. The I'll use the word ignorance of what Tahche does and what kind of company Tahche is, and I told them, well, we're located in this place. We're located. This is the business. Oh, okay. Are you hiring? Yes, we are.
Yep.
So we were able to establish ourselves, I would say, and put our footprint into the industry. And now they know that we exist. Now they know our address. Now they know that this is our business. And yeah, that's a good exposure, really.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the next season.
Oh yeah.
And you know, my son, who's you know, going to be coming and visiting, he's excited to see the team. Hopefully, he's going to try out and maybe play a little bit. My playing days might be over, even though I did play a little bit. It was fun, but the game has sped up, or I've slowed down. One of the two, maybe a combination of the two. But that was a lot of fun. Well, Joel, I really appreciate you coming on the Philippine Business Playbook podcast and spending a little time talking with me and the viewers. You know, I'm always giving my thoughts and advice based on my experience, but having another viewpoint of somebody who's been building the teams and has worked, you know, with various BPO companies is I think really a valuable service for our viewers, and so I really want to thank you for that, and hopefully you had a good time. Maybe we'll do this again, and you know, enjoy your time in the U.S.
Yes.
I'm really proud of I'm really proud of the work you're doing, and thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, that was it. That was our interview with Joel for the Philippine Business Playbook podcast. If you got any questions for Joel or for me, put them in the comments below. I'd love to hear them and start a conversation there. And I think there was a lot of great info here. And so if you want to share this with some of your fellow business owners to kind of get the word out about outsourcing in the Philippines and building teams over there, please do that. Definitely would like to spread the word. If you haven't already, like the video, hit subscribe, do all those things, And until next time, I'm Brian Luoma, and this is the Philippine Business Playbook Podcast. Thanks a lot. See you guys.